Hey, this is Notser, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Hakudo. This is the Tier 10 Japanese aircraft carrier. This game is an 8.7. It involves the priority sector changes, also the hit point nerf at Tier 10, which, all of these changes together feel really great. And especially using the NVIDIA sharpening filter, I think the aircraft lines are beautiful. I can see all of the detail on the fuselage, the wings. It's wonderful. I highly recommend if you have a GPU from NVIDIA and it's newer than, I think, 600 series or 700 series, take a look at the most recent driver. Take a look at GeForce Experience. It has a game filter, and use the sharpening filter in that game filter. It just adds detail that is lost through, texture compression or even smearing like FXAA. I love it. I love it. I know it's an aside, and it's not really related to what we're seeing on screen. Right now, I'm just trolling. I'm looking for any DD because, just like I reiterate on my stream, what's the most important thing you can do? Shoot the DD. And for the aircraft carrier, that is exactly what you should be doing. You should be looking to shoot the DD. Now, if I was a DD in this similar situation and he was looking for me, I would try and pay attention to where is he looking. If I was a DD on the A side, for instance, and I saw my teammates spot the enemy aircraft carrier at C, I would take that opportunity to try and capture it. Would I do it necessarily at B point? Well, it all depends based on where he ends up turning. If I was the enemy DD, and I think at this point, I think there's an enemy DD in my gearing attempting to try and capture, and we're both trying to scout each other's DDs. I'm looking to move the enemy DD off of this. I swear there must have been a DD because B point was not capturing at all, and then all of a sudden it is capturing. So I'm expecting, maybe he is escaping out the west side, but scouting is putting me precariously close to a couple cruisers. I don't really want to be close to them. I like my hit points. I like to use my hit points to scout for my team, but we don't really end up finding him until there's a little clue. The enemy aircraft carrier put a fighter over something. Now, there is a Moskva in the area, but unless he's terrible with his aim, he put it over something else, because it's not on top of the Moskva. I could easily attack from the north side. I think he intended to protect some DD who looked to escape out of B. So I'm going back over towards the C area. I didn't really want to go all the way to A, because it's clear that C is very contested between both sides. Necessarily not the same case with A. A has a couple, but we are actively capturing A, and that's more than can be said about C point, because there's a battleship right on the doorsteps of C. He could easily move in and contest it. So, you might be wondering, Notser, why are you just flying around? Why aren't you farming damage? I personally don't think farming damage is the right way to play, necessarily. At times, yeah, sure. But in controlling the beginning of the game, it's really important that you go after targets that are stalling your teammates or assisting to lowering your overall chance of winning the game, and I think DDs especially are really good at that. But the side of the map where the enemy is strongest against your team, you could make the biggest difference. Just a couple focus fires here or there could be the difference between 2 or 3 ships being dead on the enemy team and 2 or 3 ships being dead on your team. And that's the great thing about the CV. I can choose who I focus. I'm not sort of forced to focus certain targets that are within my gun range, and I'm certainly not feeling guilty about it. And this enemy Montana, definitely aggressive. I was taking a look. Okay, the Salem was aggressive too, and oh look, there's a gearing. Oh, there's a Montana. Oh, they're using a fighter. That's great. I actually got lucky here because I'm using it, and I don't think I'm going to catch him. I think he's going to be accelerating out of that. But by using my largest squadron and having the fighter actually engage me, the fighter can confirm kills on, I think, 3 or 4. And the way this works, I'm sure many of you know this, but some of you don't, the fighter will kill equal numbers of aircraft to its size. So it's 3 or 4 or 5 based on what the fighter loadout is and whether you're using a talent from the commander skill. Once it kills all that, it's done though. And then you can continue the attack without having to worry about losing your squadron anymore. And I find that by going towards the squadron with the healthiest, or, it might not be the most used squadron over the course of the entire game. You can afford to take a couple losses so that it makes it vulnerable for your more devastating squadron. And this Salem boy, this was scary. I was trying to move away because he's clearly going after a teammate who's desperately trying to survive, and I'm desperately trying to get over with my armor-piercing bombs. So we're obviously sailing to the forward position. I like to go right over the guns, the forward mountain guns, and drop, and we get a nice citadel on them. That should turn the tide in our favor, and I'm gonna obviously come back around because I want to confirm this kill. Too many times, oh, my teammate's got this, let me go get 20,000 guaranteed damage. I would rather guarantee the kill here and keep the teammate alive. And you see, I'm not waiting too long. Multiple teammates come in and assist. That was a great play to keep the Wooster alive. That's exactly what we need to do as a team collectively. The Des Moines over there with his AP, we kept him alive, and it could be the difference. You never know. This guy could be good, and he just happened to be in a position where the enemy was going to take advantage of it. I really enjoy that aspect of the carrier. Having that team playability is really appealing. So we're scrambling back up. The north is clearly still contested. Plus, there's an evil Des Moines over by B point, and I don't want to test the water. What's the chances that the Moskva is gonna really adopt and embrace his AA? Quite like the Des Moines, right? I feel like Des Moines players are a little bit more sadistic in their joy with their AA power versus the Moskva. So this seems to be the better play. Man, we're just gonna do a simple straight-on attack. Force him to sort of commit. Is he going to angle to me, or is he going to angle to my teammates who are actively engaging him? Clearly, he's not going to angle against me, so we get 2 nice torpedo hits. Unfortunately, we take a lot of AA damage by flying over all these targets, but they are lit up for my team, and I take advantage of the fact that gearing is lit up. I drop a fighter. I know it's going to be killed soon, but, maybe the Colbert gets enough damage on the target. Moskva is definitely in trouble. And I think I might have let him a little too much, but it does work out that his momentum still keep being carried forward. We get a last little bit of damage. Teammate burns him down, and I'm happy about that. I was able to assist a dire situation. I mean, it's 3 versus 3. Technically, it's 2 versus 3, and I'm just over there assisting. But I want to try and help. And I'm going to keep scrambling. If you're playing the Haku, the best plays you can do, and, funny enough, kill the DD, shoot the DD, right? Well, the DDs are still all alive on the enemy team. Notser, I know. I was sort of scrambling. Players after players after players are desperate. If we can kill one of these cruisers, it might mean the difference between keeping a teammate alive. And I think keeping a teammate alive takes precedence over farming a DD that's off on his own doing something. It's sort of an emergency at this point that I have to just keep scrambling. I do see that the Colbert or the Des Moines work together. Once again, drop the AP bombs. A little less than ideal angling, but the position was good. If you drop it over the front half of the ship with the guns, the momentum will carry the ship into the perfect position so that if you happen to have good RNG, it should drop right on top, and oh, this is looking good. The only question is, did we lead him enough? And I don't think so. Man, we had to drop way low, but it doesn't matter. The penetration worked out. We got 3 citadels, and immediately that Italian cruiser's going, oh crap, I can't possibly win this anymore. I had an advantage, or I was at least equalized with the Des Moines. Clearly not anymore. Clearly not anymore, and we want to try and make sure that he can't ram him or anything like that, and good. Teammates alive. Really this was a really fun game for me. I really enjoyed this aspect of the carrier, being sort of that +1 that comes in and makes it a little bit less fair for the opponent versus your team. I just find that as something that is really appealing to me. If I would to recall my World of Warcraft days, it's sort of a tank helping a healer or a tank helping a DPS in a tight spot, so I like that. So we're going after the Zhao. We haven't used our attack rockets quite as much as the dive and the torpedo, and that's because they're not as good as the dive and the torpedo, but they're good enough for a little bit of damage focused on the superstructure of any target. And as long as you can get a nice clean run, I don't think I'm going to have to actually attack this guy. I just have to avoid the flak. Yeah, good job. Nah, but if you get a nice clean run, and oh, that's the Des Moines, don't... It's sort of look at that Des Moines and avoid it. Don't go anywhere near it because it will absolutely blow up everything. I mean, he really is intimidating. Every time I go near him, I can tell that he's using priority sector correctly. You guys will start running into that more and more and more. And honestly, you probably are starting to get comfortable with the 8-7 priority sector to the point where you are as devastating as any ship with defensive fire might have been with the old RTS days, or nearing it at times. So I'm really impressed by the back and forth play that I feel with the AA. It finally feels like they're getting the picture. And here's one of those DDs. And we get an amazing attack on him. Near perfect. Couldn't have asked for a better attack on him. 6,800 damage on our first attack against a Harugumo. It's like a dream. And I'm not sad that I'm picking on the Harugumo. I think he's the one DD that you can completely ignore that exception to. Oh, speaking of picking on the Harugumo, the Worcester was able to finish him off. I think the Harugumo is one of the few DDs where, you know what, let's see them burn, because they've burned so many of our ships down, right? It's hard to feel bad for them, both with the battleship AP and also aircraft carrier, and we light it up just right. If you are noticing my attack runs, I try and lead it so that the crosshair portion of the attack reticle for my squadron is in position for the ship's momentum. By the time the payload or the projectile or whatever gets over to the location, the enemy ship will have moved himself into line of the perfect cross of the crosshair. So that's what I'm looking to do. And we're going to go after the Zhao. We got the Zhao, the Des Moines, and the Midway, which is still a very formidable force. Like, very formidable, very scary force. And I think I might work myself a little too close to the Des Moines. And, oh, yep, there we go. Lots of melting happening. Can I get away from it for another attack? And I think I caught, yep, he has his defensive AA or his priority sector up. Either way, able to do some pretty good damage, honestly. We don't have the most pin on those dive bombs, attack rockets, but it's workable. Speaking of dive bomb, armor piercing. Now, I wanted to hopefully have the Zhao dead, and then I could have used this dive bomb over the island towards the Des Moines, but I think that the Des Moines is kind of expecting it. You know, if you notice how carrier players play, it's a real low chance that they're going to re-pull the same exact squadron, because then they have to wait for the squadron to reclaim, because you basically carry 1.5 of your squadron. So normally a carrier is going to switch to a different squadron that isn't there, and if I'm using attack rockets and I haven't used torpedoes or dive, probably going to use one of those too, and torpedoes are not very good against a Des Moines in that position. But a dive bomb is absolutely outstanding. So that's what I would expect incoming. And this Zhao, he's just barely in the protection of the squadron now. This is one thing I don't really like when I'm about to do. I get too close because I get too greedy to finish this guy off. We are able to get the Citadel. Useless Citadel. But look, we're going to fly right through this fighter. We're going to lose the 4 or 5 from it killing us. And then now we have no dive bombers left. The perfect squadron against the Des Moines. What I probably should have done is scrambled the torpedo squadron, use that to absorb the fighters, and then use the dive bomb as a follow-up on the Des Moines. Now it's going to be almost impossible to do damage to the Des Moines without taking incredible losses. I could try the torpedo. I don't think torpedo's the right play against it. Torpedo's good against the carrier. Attack rockets are the second best. So I'm going to try and take this towards the Des Moines, and the Des Moines is just trying his best. He's doing a good job, and the enemy aircraft carrier is also doing an outstanding job. And, you know, some might argue, you know, maybe you use your fighter a little bit more frequently than you are currently. Like, I could have put it right there. I agree. I could have placed the fighter over the Worcester in that position and still have accomplished this play. It's one of those things that, ooh, that was outstanding. That was way more damage than I was hoping for. I was merely trying, and yep, there the fighter squadron works quite well. The Wooster and the Wooster. We lose the Wooster because of the dive bomb, and it's proof right there. You know, for as good as I played, it wasn't as good as it could have been. And you'll see at the end, it certainly wasn't. And I sort of just let the enemy aircraft carrier do whatever he wanted most of the time because I was afraid that if I didn't have the fighter, then maybe I can't use it to keep target spotted earlier on. And also the fact that a lot of times we were just trying to recall and go after a teammate. I couldn't do anything else other than help him against surface ships. And just barely. And I couldn't do anything else other than help versus surface ships while the enemy aircraft carrier is able to just work through multiple teammates. And once again, he drops a fighter. He's doing a great job. This is exactly what you need to do. But the Des Moines is setting up. He's just, oh, man. It probably would have been the difference right there. If my armor-piercing bombs, and I use the squadrons in a slightly different order, and finally we use a fighter over the teammate, plus I'm grouping up with him for AA. But if I would have used the dive bomber in a slightly different order and had a healthier one, I wouldn't have lost accuracy on that Des Moines and failed that drop. And maybe we kill the Des Moines. Maybe we kill the Des Moines already. And this is, the longer he's staying alive, the higher chances that he's going to kill my teammate. And yeah, teammate's pretty low. And this is really bad. Is he going to really kill him? He really killed him, and I missed my torpedo. This is incredibly stressful for me. A game that was incredibly contested the whole time. Now it looks like they have a chance to win. So all I'm trying to do is slow down this guy. And all my squadrons are incredibly low. You got to try and make sure every single time you have direct control of your aircraft. And we get a torpedo hit on him. I don't know how we hit a torpedo on him. We got so fortunate. He was on our side. He just could have pumped AP after AP after AP into my side. Only real play I had was to turn away and try and be as narrow and thin, just as any ship running bow in or stern out, just to minimize the profile they could shoot. But we got so fortunate in this game. This carrier, he is a great player, and you can see the great plays that he's done. Even while he's attacking through my target, he is dropping a fighter to assist. Whereas if I'm in a similar situation, it's not the first thing I think about in regard to my fighter. So I just need to improve that play. But this was a great game. I really enjoyed all the situations. There was a lot of emergency situations where a friendly was under a dire situation and I was given the honor of helping. That really pleases me as a player because I look forward to doing that. That's one of the best parts about multiplayer gaming, in my opinion. I love the aspects that this offers. And I know, carriers and all that stuff broken, or the AA is completely broken. I felt like in this game, it was on a knife's edge, and any team could have won it. It just happens that the way it worked out, we got slightly better RNG, and the positioning gave us a better ending, because we had 2 bases to their none, and C is still contested, by the way. C was never captured this entire game, but it was wonderful. I absolutely love it when all 4 classes work this well together, and this is what I look forward to. I really am excited for the future of ships because of that, because I think the potential is definitely there to always be enjoyable. It's probably one of the best military-style vehicle games, just from a gameplay standpoint, in my opinion. And, yeah, I think it shows. So we're just, attacking the midway. We know the fighters are here. We're not really going to get as much damage as we like, but why not? We are in Confederate. You do want to try and take control and use priority sector whenever you can. Obviously, you can't do that, and I certainly wouldn't encourage you to send your fighter back just to do it unless you absolutely needed to, but it's really useful, clearly. And we got, 28 seconds left. C point. Oh, if we can keep it contested, we could go the whole duration. I don't really have the speed to get over there, but boy, is he, I think he's trying. He's trying so hard. He drops the fighter in front. Just give me the capture. That's all I ask for. Because we've got like 7 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2. Really? I give it with 2 seconds left. C point is finally captured after 19 minutes and 57 seconds. That was awesome. Really enjoyed this Haku game, and I hope you enjoyed watching it from my point of view. It's, not everyone gets to appreciate this because you guys are more surface ships, and I respect that, but it certainly looks pretty cool from the air, seeing the dynamic combat going on, and it is very rewarding to be a part of that. And oh, look at the enemy aircraft carrier. This would have been a 3,000 point game for him. The Des Moines is right there too. I really enjoyed this game. Obviously 2600, not quite as good as the enemy aircraft carrier, so respect. He clearly outplayed me, especially on his fighter protection. I've got to improve at that, but hey, I enjoyed the game and I felt like it was pretty awesome to be a part of. Hopefully you did as well. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to check out more of my content, you can click the most recent or the most relevant uploads. You could also choose to subscribe to my channel. We do daily World of Warship videos, first impression, how-to, news, and review related. My North American recruit invite is on the screen. You can take advantage of that. I stream at twitch.tv/Notser. Thank you, have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you next time.